Let's go. Roundtable Radio.
Roundtable.
You are now tuned into the Roundtable Radio.
Roundtable.
You're now tuned into the Roundtable Radio.
Roundtable.
Let's go.
Roundtable Radio.
What's going on? Nothing much. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you good. You good.
Cool.
We here, we live, and you look like you freezing a little bit out there.
I am. It's just cold everywhere. It's colder in my house than it is outside almost. So Georgia has been having just the strangest winter weather.
Right. Well, it's all good, man. We here, we live, we healthy. You know, I want to say thank you, first of all, foremost, for taking your time out today to stop with me to talk about, some upcoming projects and the things you got going on right now. So I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Well, let's go ahead and get it started. Now, I always like to start my interviews off getting to know the artist one-on-one, getting to know where their head is at when they go in the studio, in the booth, or working on the next project. So I'm going to start with this question right here. When it comes to you as an artist, as a guitar player, a musician, all the above, what would you say is your number one influence, or what would you say motivates you the most for you to be at your 100% best when it comes to this music game?
I would say wanting to connect with other people. I feel like for me, when I listen to certain types of music, I'm able to connect to the artist or the musician that's playing, through however they tell their story. Like there are some times where I'm, lit and I'm listening to this Megan Stallion and I'm in my zone and I'm connected with what she's talking about. But then there are other times where I'm listening to like the Foo Fighters and the way that Dave Grohl writes, music from a lyrical perspective and a musical perspective is beautiful. And I feel like music in general, and the way that you present music to the public is a way to connect people and build a bridge between people who otherwise wouldn't feel like they could be connected. But you turn on that one song or, you play that one guitar solo, suddenly everything else around you kind of dissolves and you've just like connected with somebody. So, yeah, just wanting to be able to connect with people.
Okay. Now, what was it that moment for you where you was just like, okay, if I put my all into this and what I'm trying to do, like, this is going to work out. And when it does work out, it's going to be something that I enjoy. When was it that moment for you and where you were just like, I think I'm going to put my 100% all into this. And when I do, it's going to work.
Honestly, the way that my work ethic is set up is I put 100% into anything that I do. I'm very, I'm very, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but before I take on something, I think about, is this something that I'm willing to put my all into? And the moment that it's a yes for me or an inkling of a yes, then I put 100% in it. For me, what I did have to learn is discipline, and exercising my discipline through the long haul within like developing a career, because building a business from the ground up is a lot of work, especially in the music industry. And there are a lot of moments where it's just going to be very lonely and where you're just going to be the last person standing. And I kind of had to wrap my mind around that and accept it. And the accepting it part was probably the most difficult, which I honestly didn't accept that, I would say, until like maybe last year. But this has been something that I've been pursuing for over 10 years. But I knew that I wanted to be consistent and just, continue to work at something that I'm passionate about. But, it's hard though.
Right. That's understandable. Like, so I gotta ask, what made you actually want to start playing the guitar? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, we come across a lot of people play the drums. We come across a lot of people, of course, who rap, who do produce and everything like that. But, especially as black people, we tend, we don't come across a lot of black people who actually, go that route in music. You know what I'm saying? And so I wanna know what made you go the rock and roll route, and what made you actually start wanting to have interest in playing the guitar?
I think it was honestly like I feel like it kind of just happened to be the next instrument that I was going to try, because I started playing piano. My mom put me in piano lessons when I was young, and it was cool, but I just didn't have the type of connection that I think my spirit was looking for. So then I started playing the clarinet, and then I started playing the oboe, which I like both of those. And I love playing the oboe and I love playing the clarinet. I'm sure if I pulled out my clarinet, I could still remember. But that's kind of, I think, the beginning of when I started feeling a connection to playing an instrument. But it still wasn't the type of spiritual connection that I think I was looking for. And I wanted to be able to play while I was singing at the same time. You can't do that on the oboe or clarinet. So the next instrument, my mom was like, try guitar. You might like it. So I got a guitar, and that it just automatically clicked for me. And then I taught myself how to play by just listening to a lot of rock music, because I was already listening to a lot of rock. And like throughout middle and high school, I was struggling with, I think, appreciating Black culture and appreciating myself as a Black person, because I did not know the depths of how most genres of music that we listen to are birthed out of our culture. So when I started learning that and learning about the Sister Rosetta Thorpes and, just all of these amazing Black people that created genres that we're now listening to many, many years later, it kind of came full circle for me. And I was like, oh, shit, so you mean to tell me we made this, and this? So after after that moment, especially like with rock and roll, that's when I started feeling like, well, how is a white man gonna tell me that I can't appreciate some shit that I made? Like, what? So I think that's when it kind of came full
Exactly,
circle,
but we all
and I
know,
started embracing it more.
never mind. I'm gonna keep that. Right. And that's very important. One of those people who, aren't scared to break those barriers. You know what I'm saying? Because we all, when we start doing music, we always feel like we gotta go to rap, or we always feel like we gotta go to the hip hop base, because we feel like that's where everybody understands. You know what I'm saying? When we have people out there who understand more than just hip hop, more than just rap. You know what I'm saying? And you're giving that
Right.
light and giving that shine to other genres and telling us that, hey, we're over here too. You know what I'm saying? We're making noise over here too. So don't
Yep.
be afraid to, what I'm saying, go beyond that expected barrier. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
110%. We create the standard. We are the standard.
oh yeah, oh yeah, most definitely. Well, that's dope. So I gotta ask you the infamous question that I always ask every person I do an interview with. You know what I'm saying? I gotta ask. So when it comes to the music game itself, you know what I'm saying? When we look at the game, and I'm not speaking on one genre, I'm speaking on all genres.
Hmm.
Some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's really just there. You know what I'm saying? Just to say, oh, they have something out, or what I'm saying, whatever the case may be. So I want to ask, what are your views on the music game itself? Do you think it's where it needs to be? Do you think it needs a lot of work, or do you think it's really just an open portal?
Um, I think I think that until I open up a magazine and see just as many Black people as I do white people and other people, that there needs to be work. And honestly, I feel like this is a conversation that's going to be ongoing until Jesus comes back. But I just, because in order for there to actually be diversity and inclusion, that means that the people who are in the positions of power, most of the time that's white men, have to look at themselves and realize that there is a gap that they created, some discrimination that they created, and you have to be willing to acknowledge that and then put forth the efforts needed to change that. And right now, it's very difficult to even, walk into an office building, and have a conversation, like a real conversation about the lack of diversity and inclusion at large in the music industry. So, but I feel like there's a lot of change also that is on the horizon, because there are so many Black people who are entering, especially Black women. I feel like we're in Black girl glow up season right now, because I feel like we're at an age and we're at a time where Black women are like, look, we have been asking, we have been patient, we have been all of these things, and I'm just not doing that no more. So especially when, if we're being honest, Black women are behind the scenes, and always have been for quite some time, but not being given the credit or the shine that we deserve. So I feel like the music industry 1000% needs a lot of improvement from just a diversity perspective. And when I say diverse, I don't mean, a white person who has green hair instead of blonde, or whatever. I feel like diversity, like there has to be intentionality behind diversity. But a lot of times, what white men in the music industry do is they'll get a token black person and then say, look, we gave y'all some diversity. Or they'll get, someone else of color and say, look, y'all have some diversity. But like one person of color on a roster of like 400 guitarists is not diversity. Like,
Right.
that's not how that works. So it needs some work.
So what are one of the steps that you feel like need to be taken in order for this to happen? You know what I'm saying? Like if you were put in a position of power to allow people to come in and put their 2 cents in and what they feel like needs to happen in order for this change to happen, what would you say is one of the important steps that needs to be taken?
Putting people of color in the positions of making decisions. One of the things that I've been doing, I just stepped in into two really big positions of decision making with some majority white actually probably all white prior to me and one other person stepping in. But one of those positions being, I just stepped in as the board chair of a girls rock camp in Asheville, North Carolina, and I think part of how change can come about is white people who are in the positions of making decisions, stepping down or stepping aside and making room for people of color that can actually bring experience to the table in order to create more diversity. Because like there are so many companies who will say, oh, well, like I said, we put, 3 or 4 black people on a roster but like that doesn't create long-term diversity. That's like a Band-Aid, temporary Band-Aid for an issue or for a wound that has been, there for a long time. So I would like to see more black women, especially, being put in positions of authority and decision making. And like even within that, I got to be very specific. I want to see more black people in positions of equal authority and equal decision making. Not white people are going to control 90% of it, and you can have your little spot over there. There needs to
Right.
be equal power and equal, decision making. And I feel like that will begin some of the necessary intentional conversations that need to be had, because you have people of color speaking from the experience of, what us as black people, or like we're on the receiving end. So there's no way that a white woman can tell me my experience in the music industry, because it's not the same. But if you put me in that, in the board chair position, I can tell you how, lack of diversity in your marketing affects young black girls that you're trying to get to come to your camp, but they don't see other black people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's full circle. At the end of the day, representation matters. That's really what it is. Everybody wants to see themselves represented, because it helps you to see, maybe this is a career that I could do. And, historically, white people have always gotten that. But when it's time for people of color to get that, it's like everybody has amnesia and they don't know what we're talking about. So,
I feel you 100%. I feel 100%. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people who's going to watch this interview is going to be on the same wave with you. You know what I'm saying? There has to be change in order for our people have to be put in a position in order for the message to get across how we need that message to get across. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Can't have people
right,
who do not understand or do not know the shoes that we walked in, you know what I'm saying, putting our people in, in shows and music, anything like that. We need to have it from the source that we know, you know what I'm saying? And,
right,
it's,
right.
it's always been a whole disaster in the mixture with music and
Hmm.
television. We know the story, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Now, talk to me a little bit about this album. Now you have 2 albums coming up, right?
Hmm.
Okay, you have music out,
Ashley.
Prison. Let me get this. Prison of Life.
Hmm.
Now, talk to me a little bit about Prison of Life. Give me a little. What's the concept behind this, or how did you come up with the concept behind this album right here?
So most of the songs on both of those albums, but with regards to Prison of Life, most of those songs I wrote like almost 10 years ago, just out of experiences that I was going through in the moment. A lot of it just had to do with, like I said earlier, like struggling with understanding my identity as a black woman in this country. I was trying to figure out, like, what does that mean? How do you appreciate yourself as a black woman? And then when I started going to Spelman, that's really when I learned a lot, like I said, about our culture and and whatnot. But then because Spelman has a specific focus of educating and empowering Black women, that's really where I think um, a lot of the way that my perspective of life and how I move through life and interact with other people, that's really where it started to come full circle for me. And that's where I started to understand, okay, this is how I can navigate. This is, this is my calling. This is what I want to do with my life. But so a lot of the songs from Prison of Life were birthed out of that. And it really just like the emotion behind, sometimes feeling like a prisoner in my own life because I just didn't understand how to navigate through a world where there's just a ridiculous amount of hatred, or there's a ridiculous amount of, just injustice and all that kind of stuff. And I just couldn't. And sometimes I look at stuff on TV and I'm like, that don't even make no damn sense. Like, if you're gonna, like, some of the shit that we're having to talk about, with regards to the Black Lives Matter, I'm like, why do we have to keep talking about the same, like, what do y'all not understand? Like, so Prison of Life for me was just like the frustration of, why do we have to keep going in circles to ask for, we shouldn't have to ask, but why do we have to keep going in circles? And the title track, Prison of Life in particular, was definitely like one of those songs for me that on that album that hit home the hardest, especially after, seeing the injustice done to my sister Breonna Taylor and having to constantly see Black people, trying not to get emotional thinking about it, but like just constantly having to see our people on social media and on news being, murdered. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. And I feel like as Black people, I know this is a side note, but I also try to bring this and relate this to my music. But as Black people, we got to put our mental and physical and spiritual well-being first and foremost, because we can't fill from an empty cup. So, it's hard to have to keep seeing this kind of stuff on the news, but, whenever we do see those kinds of things, or we have to, initiate those conversations, whether that's through a guitar, whether that's through, trap record, whatever it is, we got to make sure that we step back sometimes and say, all right, let me decompress and then get back into the fight of creating music that is going to explain to people how we as a culture and as we as a community feel. So that was a roundabout way of saying that Prison of Life is really just written from experiences and wanting to connect with people who understood.
Okay, this is gonna be an important album. So when are you planning to drop this album right here, so we can get ready for this knowledge?
Prison of Life is out now, and Musicology is out now. People can see it on anywhere that you stream music, on Spotify, on Apple Music. But I'm working on the music video for Prison of Life and the Deadpool. Both of those are songs that are from both of those projects. But so we're working on the music videos for those now to kind of give a visual explanation of some of the emotion that I had behind those songs on that album.
Okay. Now, do you have a plan when the video's gonna drop, or what I'm saying, are we gonna be updated as time goes on?
Y'all gonna have to be updated as time goes on. I'm planning a big premiere for the Deadpool, so I'm waiting to hear back from one of our partners for that. So I don't want to spoil it yet.
Talk to me a little bit about this give back that you and the band are getting ready for. You know what I'm saying, and what are the goals behind? What are the goals that y'all are planning to reach, and how can we help in tune in?
So Tulips Give Back Day is a day where we focus on, and a day that we focus on every year. We focus on giving back directly to our community. We donate a lot throughout the year. A lot of people, if you follow me like in depthly, some people follow me a little bit too closely, but for people who follow, then a lot of people will know that we donate the proceeds that I get from streams. We donate those back to organizations 365, every single year. But I wanted to be intentional about creating avenues for other people who are in our Tulip Nation fan base of supporters to be able to also join in on giving back to our community, because that's where we came from. We're all Black, and we're all that's our community. So Tulips Give Back Day is on the 23rd, December 23rd, and it's from 1 to 3 p.m. And so if you go to our website, txlips.com, you'll see different ways that you can virtually participate. And we're trying to raise as much money as we possibly can. Our goal is $5,000 to raise for Lost and Found Youth, which is a shelter in Atlanta. It's majority Black youth that are LGBTQ plus that were kicked out of their homes And during the holiday season, there's not a good time ever to be homeless, but throughout the holiday season, I think is when a lot of organizations put forth a lot of their resources to helping, create warm, safe places for people who are living on the streets. And so Lost and Found Youth is a really big organization that puts out a lot of resources every year to make sure that these youth that they're bringing into the shelter are not only given, food and clothing and a place to live, but they're also giving them life stabilization services. They're giving them the tools they need to rebuild their life. And so we're trying to raise as much money as we can to put that back into their pockets. So
That's
yeah.
good. That's good. That's good. It's always I always get a joy out of giving back. You know what I'm saying? I remember being in high school and going down. I'm from Atlanta, by the way, and so Jose,
Yes.
yeah, Atlanta, South Clayton County. You know what I'm saying? Fayette County,
Oh,
shout out.
wow.
But I remember going to do Jose Feed the Hungry, and I remember the joy I just get out of giving back. I remember being in high
Hmm.
school to go feed the homeless and everything like that. So I used to always love giving back, man. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I hear somebody wanting to give back or participating in giving back, it always brings joy to my heart. You know what I'm saying? Because there's people out
Right.
there who need help. There's people out there that don't care. You know what I'm saying? And for the
Yeah.
ones that really care, for the ones that actually want to put that step forward, you know what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
congratulate you and wish you well and nothing but respect. You know what I'm saying? Because
Thank you.
there's few
Yeah.
of us out here that really care about giving back and wanting our community to be where it needs to be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Right.
I,
Right. Nobody
I,
else want to do it. We got to do it.
oh yeah, man. So yeah, I applaud you guys for that. Um, one thing I wanted to ask, man. So when it comes to the tulips band, you know what I'm saying? I want to know, how did you guys form? You know what I'm saying? Was it something that did y'all know each other from childhood? Was it something that you guys came across? You know what I'm saying? How was the tulips band formed? You know what I'm saying, from day one?
So initially, back, you from Atlanta, I'm from Atlanta too, so I know Crime Mob. And so back in the day, there's, Crime Mob. And so Diamond from Crime Mob broke off and started doing her own solo stuff. And in 2016, her management reached out to me. They needed a guitarist for a music video that she was working on. So I did the music video with her. And then after that first video, actually before we even did the video, I think, yeah, it was before we even filmed the video. Regardless, though, Diamond needed a guitarist for the video, and so I saw it as an opportunity to create an all-female band because I had been watching Diamond on was Sisterhood of Hip Hop was the name of the show on VH1, and I saw that Diamond was playing with an all-female band in California.
Mm.
So I was like, you know what? You're in Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. You need an Atlanta band. I got the Pussy Power Gang ready to go. So I called a couple musicians that I knew that one of them at the time was no longer with us, Mo, played drum. We played in a band together like maybe 3 or 4 years prior to that. So I just pulled together musicians that I knew, and then also I'm very good at finding things and people on Instagram. So I found some people on Instagram, brought them together, and then started the Tulips Band. And we were doing a lot of Tulips Band stuff simultaneously as we were working with Diamond under the name Girl Code. And then over the years, I changed the model. Initially, it was the same group of people, but I quickly realized that that wasn't going to be, one, the most sustainable model for the vision that I had for the business. And then two, I wanted to create a platform where I could get as many Black women as possible to participate in something when they wanted to, on their own dime and on their own time. Because as a musician, anybody that's watching this, actually, and one of my homegirls, Tink, just joined, and hey girl, she plays bass and she is sick. But as a musician, a lot of times, like the touring schedule can be really hectic, and a lot of times it calls for you to sacrifice many things in order to participate in something. And as women, especially as Black women, we are always in the position where we have to give up things that we want to do in order to do things that we have to do. And what I mean by that is, like, there are so many women that want to, play in a band for 3 or 4 gigs because that's all the availability that they have this month, because they have to go back to their full-time job, then put on their mom hat, cook dinner, go run all these errands, help other people. So there's a lot of different hats that women have to wear. But I wanted to make a platform where Black females didn't have to feel like they had to sacrifice something that they love in order to, you know, just live their life. So all that being said, the motto of the band is it's a collective. So I have over 15 Black women all around the world who participate in our I call them Tulip Gang. So that's the Tulip Gang members. And whenever I tour, whenever I have a music video, if I have film engagements, we just started doing some film things in the some engagements in the film industry. But whenever we have any type of business that comes through, I tap on the Tulips Gang. Do you want to participate? Do you have the time? Let's get it. So that's how the model is set up.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. That sounds dope, man. It sounds like a dope platform. Sounds like you got everything rocking and rolling. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fan. I'm a fan. You know what I'm saying? I will admit before I set this interview up, I'm a fan of rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? I like Bon Jovi. You know, and things. You know, but I would never. You know me. I'm a producer. I interview a lot of artists who's rappers. You know what I'm saying? I rap myself. I'm an artist myself. Blase, blase. I don't really listen to rock and roll like that. But you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I've become a fan of you. You know what I'm saying? Last time I ever listened to some rock and roll when I was playing Guitar Hero, and this ain't no guitar. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm weak.
Listen. I'm becoming a fan. I have become a fan, in fact, and I want to say personally, from me to you, please keep doing what you're doing. You're saying you're giving people the opportunity who's, you know, still trying to find out who they are. You're letting them know that it's okay to be who you want to be. It's okay to, you know what I'm saying, shine in the light where they feel like we don't deserve that light or we don't need to be there. You know what I'm saying? You're letting people know that, you know, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say personally, please keep doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be watching. Please keep us updated. You know what I'm saying? With any projects, videos, please, because we want to know more. We want to see more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
As long as I got breath in my body, we're gonna be out here. So.
Oh yeah, man. You know, so yeah, please keep us updated, please. Now, before we get up out of here, are there any shout outs you want to give out to anybody, any artists, any musicians, any drummers, anybody trying to get into your DMs that can't get into your DMs, anybody
I'm so
in the
weak.
comments that talk that bullshit, they ain't gonna get no response, but you want to go ahead and shout them right now. You know what I'm saying? Anybody.
Definitely got to shout out to all the Tulip Gang. You know, the homies are like, I'm so blessed to be surrounded by so many amazing Black women that are extremely supportive of what I do. And it's hard to find good people. It's hard to find really good people that just want to support and are not here because they think you can do something for them. And I will say that over the years, it's been hard to find a really good group of women that that are here because they understand the mission and what I'm trying to do for us, and they're more than willing to participate. And one thing that I think all of my collective members over time can say is that I have a really big heart and I care about my people. I will take care of my people forever. That's just not Tulips Gang members. I mean, like my entire community. I come from a background of education and law enforcement and the legal side of the industry as well. And my roots are, I come from a family of wanting to take care of people simply because it's right. So I definitely got to shout out my gang for always being supportive of me and helping push the mission. And then also got to shout out to my endorsement reps, Ernie Ball, EMG, ESP. We're going to talk about that later. But got to shout out to my endorsement reps for believing in what it is that I'm doing and opening up the door for me to represent for other Black women on these major companies. And the only other thing or person I got to shout out is niggas, leave me alone. Niggas keep DMing me. Leave me alone. Unless you're here to support, that's cool. But if it's not about that, leave me alone.
There it is, yo. You heard it here first, yo.
Hey, sis.
That's what's up. Well, look, Guitar Gabby, it's been a pleasure to sit down with you. Thank you again for taking time out today to sit down with me, you know what I'm saying, to talk about some upcoming projects and what you got going on today. I really do appreciate it. And, you know, like I always say up here at Round Table Radio, please stay safe. God bless. keep your mask on when you go in grocery stores, when you're doing shows, you're meeting fans, when
Okay.
you sign autographs, when you're doing all of that stuff. Please keep that mask on. Don't let them cough
I'm
in
not
your
even finna
face.
be around nobody. No,
You know.
we don't. Let me tell you something. The Logan gang over here, we don't play that shit. If we have to go out of the house, it is for something that is, has been thoughtfully set up prior to when I'm actually going out. And even then, I'm like, no new friends. You got to be tested. I'm taking your temperature. The whole nine. So, love the supporters. Thank you, Tulip Nation. But y'all can we'll see you virtually for now
Oh yeah.
until this government can get their shit together. Because I just don't know what they're doing. So.
Well, there it is, man. There it is. I always say, you know what I'm saying? Stay safe. God bless. Keep the mask on. Until next time. Peace.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Just don't let me see you shoot no dogs.
Roundtable Radio.